Okay, that. Okay, that. All right. January 9th. Hey,
I
hey,
wouldn't know any better, actually.
we could go back to January 9th
Yeah.
and maybe we could have a different thing happening. Oh my God. Hi everybody.
Hello.
Here's one thing I think I want to say because Julia, I was going to ask you because I know you live in LA and Tom, you lived in Pasadena, which is a LA adjacent. Um, are you feeling like LA's burning? Or are you feeling like, yeah, they didn't think so?
No,
And yeah, and I just, God, I don't want to hate the news because I think we need the news, but I freaking hate the news.
yeah, I mean, it feels
Just,
like it feels like, on the one hand, it's important to be clear about the fact that the President of the United States is sending armed forces into um, a major American city. Um, and then also like these are peaceful protests and the any violence that's happening seems to be happening from one side and it's not the protesters. And so, that's, I think, hard. And I think, like, I don't know about Tom, but for me as I've lived in Los Angeles for 20 years. It's, it's my home. Um, it's sad. And like, we've already dealt with, a lot of sadness this year in LA and like a lot of destruction. And we really didn't need this. And this is a city of immigrants, and much like San Diego, it's a city of immigrants,
I,
and it's a city full of people who have
who are
great
working hard, who are working hard.
and have great neighborhoods and have great, I mean, community. And like it's it's so funny. I was in Salt Lake City last week, and some like Australian tourist like decided to tell me how much she hated Los Angeles. And I just like I just had this moment of like, she was like, it was dirty. And I said it, I was trying to be nice. And so I said a thing that I always say, which is like, I think LA is a place that you need to be taken around by someone who lives here, because I
That's
think
right.
the places that you're told to go as a tourist are like, I'm like, yeah, we don't go there. So,
Exactly. And I think, and that's, yes, I mean, and
you know,
LA is, LA is a very tough city to be a tourist in.
yeah.
It really is because it's not New York. Are you trying to like your atmospheric lighting, Amanda? Is
I'm,
like
I'm just
I
gonna go
know.
off. I'm gonna go off camera because I can't
okay,
stand it.
okay,
But
all right. You're
but
cracking me up though.
I'll come back later.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah,
Um,
sorry, y'all.
yeah, but LA is just one of those cities that it's like it's not New York, it's not Chicago, it's not San Francisco. It
Yeah.
is a beast unto itself. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I still have lots of connections in Los Angeles. It's just like it's like any area that has great areas and bad areas, and it's just that's
Well, and
just
the city is a target. It's being
for
provoked.
sure.
This is an operation. This is a
Yep,
plan.
yep.
And it's all going according to their plan so far.
Well, and I don't want to get too political because we'll start talking about some books here real quick because that's what we're here to do. But let's just say that there's a party that's involved in this that's not going to back down because it will make them look bad. And that's where we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think there's also a person in an administration that grew up in Santa Monica and is for some reason very mad about that.
Yeah.
Um, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's true. A personal connection to the city.
yes.
yeah,
So,
that's just like, so I just think that I don't see how it's going to not end some way that is horrific, but I hope not.
I hope not to.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
I mean, I
So
don't disagree with you, but I'm holding out hope that yes, they're making a point. They're continue to make a point, but
well, I
um
think the rest of the country has to kind of come out in solidarity too a little bit, especially
yeah,
big cities.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just saying. Just say I think that the big cities need to just be like, whoa, But
No thanks. Yeah.
okay, well, like I said, don't read the news because I'm really mad at them.
Yeah.
Find your news somewhere that it's like a source that you can trust. Although, okay, so not to that. How about what happened with Terry Moran over the weekend? Like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
speaking of the person who grew up in Santa Monica.
yeah, exactly. All right. Before you guys came on, though, Amanda and I were like, we were holding out hope that you all would show up, but it's I haven't read. I've read so much lately, but realized that nothing's out right now. Or I didn't like it very much. So, although total antithesis to that, if you see where I'm at in this book, Julia.
That's good.
Oh my God. Okay, I have like 100 pages left. I was like, I had to stop to come on, and I was like,
it's hard to put down. Yeah,
it's so hard to put down, but I'm still kind of like, what am I reading?
Yeah, what's happening here?
That's a great. All of that is a great feeling. All those feelings.
OMG. It's like, okay, so just so that it's the Book of Guilt, everybody. So I don't know what I'm reading. I mean, I know what I'm reading, obviously, but it's just like most books you can kind of like, oh, I can kind of see what I'm right now, I'm like, I'm kind of, and I'm like, I have a sense of dread. That's
when is the book? When is it coming out? When can we pre-order?
The fall book.
September 16th. So not too far.
No.
Not too far. I have a sense of dread right now that is just killing me. So anyway, yeah. So I don't want you to say anything because I
just was gonna say I'm here for you when you finish.
Okay.
You can text me.
Okay.
This is the sense of dread we can all get behind. This
yes.
In a book.
Yes. And okay, so then, and I never ever do this, and somebody asked me just the other day, now I want to read like everything that she's written. And I've never heard of her before.
Oh, it's not a first novel even.
No. Catherine I'm not gonna
Chidgey, I think, or
Chidgey? Yeah. And she's from New Zealand, although the book's not set in New Zealand. She's from New Zealand, which I think I find fascinating too. So anyway, so there is that to look forward to. That's coming. So would I say, but other stuff I'm listening to one for my book club right now. Oh my God, help me. I won't say what it is because there's lots of people out there that like it. Well, I might tell you later. Anyways, okay, so Julia, let's see if we got you set up to screen share if you want that. Let's say there's that ready for you now. And then so take it away, Julia. What do you got for us this week?
Okie doke. Well, I would be remiss if I didn't give you at least one Pride book during June every week. So oops, what did I just do? Okay, there we are. This is Dining Out, First Dates, Defiant Nights, and Last Call Disco Fries at America's Gay Restaurants. And this one was like the sleeper hit for me. I read the description of this book and I was like, what's a gay restaurant? And then I was like, I don't know. And then I read it and I was like, oh, all the places that I hang out. And so it's like, it's this great book that, like, you know, we have so many histories of gay bars and sort of the place in the queer community that gay bars rest, whether it's meeting places or, you know, sort of safe havens or not so safe havens, as the case may be. But this is really about like places where people not just like sometimes they organize, you know, sometimes they get together and like organize political actions, but also where people go after they've been drinking all night, or where people go, you know, for their first dates and stuff like that. And so it's these restaurants all over the country. I believe Gossip Grill in in San Diego. Where are you at?
where do we live? Chicago.
Where am I at? I don't know. But I believe Gossip Grill in San Diego is mentioned, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I read it, but you know, in Los Angeles, we have a Mexican restaurant called Casita del Campo that has like a drag bar underneath it, that like they do drag shows underneath the restaurant. And one of my favorites in San Francisco is Orphan Andy's that I used to go.
I love
I
that.
the good one. That's where when I was a young pup, I used to go. You would eat at 3 in the morning after you'd been out drinking. But it's like all over the country, these restaurants that sort of like hold this great place, and it's a delight of a history and a delight of a like cultural sort of exploration. And it's called Dining Out. I really love it. And I loved how it was written. It read really easily. Gave me a sort of not a pop history, but a cultural history.
Cultural history, and I just say it probably probably a little bit of a nostalgia.
Somewhat, but like I think most of the restaurants, there's a couple of restaurants that are closed, but most of them are still open.
Yeah.
So, it's places that people still go. So it's kind of cool.
But I mean, a nostalgia for you though, a little bit too.
Yes. I mean,
Like,
I don't go to Orphan Andy's at 3 a.m. anymore, unfortunately.
We kind of we gotta all grow out of our 3
Yeah.
a.m. stuff. At
Yeah,
some point we do. Although as you get older, you realize that I stay up later and later now. I find 1 in the morning to be a very good time to do so many things.
Yeah. 3 a.m. is my like I've panicked myself awake hour. So I see it, but not at a
Yeah.
bar.
And not in a bar. Exactly. Not in a bar. And so Amanda wants to know what disco fries are because she needs them immediately.
I know.
I love it.
I might.
The disco fries.
I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, but I agree, Amanda.
I
Disco
think
fries are
they sound
amazing.
like something that would be
Great.
good to have.
Great,
Yes.
yeah, great phrase. I love it.
All right, covered in melted cheese and gravy. Okay.
Oh,
What could be better?
It's a
All
thing.
right, Tom.
Okay, so
I
that
don't know. Can you beat disco fries?
what?
Can you beat disco fries?
I think I can, but it's gonna be a dark journey. So
Oh, okay. Here we
Julia,
go.
Julia brought you joy and memory and nostalgia. I'm gonna bring you to a very dark place, but it's
Uh-oh.
a good book. The book is out tomorrow. It's called Murderland, by Caroline Fraser. Now what I love so many things about this book, but one is her last book was called Prairie Fires: The
Oh, yeah.
American Dreams of Laura Ingalls Wilder. So, which she won every prize for. She won the Pulitzer Prize. She won the National Book Critics Circle Award. She won all kinds of history prizes. But she's gone from kind of the dark side of Laura Ingalls Wilder, but still Laura Ingalls Wilder. You may recognize Ted Bundy on the cover here. So she's taking us and the book is called Murderland: Crime and Bloodlust in the Time of Serial Killers. So you couldn't think of a book more different than her last book. So she grew up in the Pacific Northwest, and this is something that maybe people who follow, like there are so many people who are into true crime and know everything about serial killers. I did not know that the Pacific Northwest was a hub of these serial killers.
Kind of like a grooming ground.
Yeah, exactly. And so the book is personal in so many different ways. I mean, there is a memoiristic aspect to it where she's talking about her own growing up in that area in the 70s and 80s, I think. But then she takes a deep dive into why were these, what these gruesome killers, what was causing that? And it's almost like you can see her drawing a murder board, like, on cop shows where she's making these connections and she's like, wait, I think I see something here. It's adding up. And what it's adding up to is the other thing about that area and that time was the environmental degradation by these big companies, smelters in particular. Now, smelters had to do, and they dumped all of this truly toxic waste into the rivers and the whole area. So it's an environment. It's a true crime book because it's filled with these stories. They're all here: the Green River Killer, the I-5 Killer, the Night Stalker, Hillside Strangler. Even Charles Manson makes an appearance here and has a connection to this place. But more importantly is the environmental aspect, that there's poisonous lead, copper, arsenic smelters. They were destroying that part of the country, which we don't think about. And so she's looking at the effects, especially of lead. And I think the science is just beginning. She's kind of doing a more, putting it together herself based on some scientific papers and stuff, but she just eventually it's just like it makes sense. And she's such a good writer. She delivers it's so rare to get a book that is so kind of it's original. Like it's truly like an original piece of thinking, writing. But dark, but dark. The original title was American Mayhem, which was a good title, although sadly, I think some people thought it sounds like a political book because we're in the middle of American mayhem.
Yeah.
So we went with Murderland. But she won all those prizes for the last book. I think this is going to be on 10 best of the year. This is going to be because people already love true crime, but if you throw in like all this super interesting cultural and environmental things, it adds up to a really rich brew. So reviews are fantastic. The LA Times this past weekend had an incredible review. They say Fraser's scorching, seductive Murderland is a meld of true crime, memoir, and social commentary, but with a mission to shock readers into a deeper understanding of the American nightmare, ecological devastation entwined with senseless sadism. And I think it is sadly timely also because we're looking at a country that is looking to roll back all these things that I mean lead gasoline didn't disappear until the 80s, and so much of these smelters and these different industrial companies were all about lead in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. So anyway, very, very interesting stuff. Murderland on sale tomorrow. Carolyn Fraser.
Great cover.
Yeah, really
It's a
great.
really good. It's a really good
Yeah.
cover.
Yeah.
Okay, Beth, you have some interesting like background and stuff. It's like you're in books. You have a cousin who
Right.
this
Let me
this thing.
see.
That's crazy. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, what?
Yeah, I know. It's just like, oh my God, Great Orient. It's like, yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I think I'd be moving too.
Whoa.
Burn the house down. I mean, like,
Well, and like, okay, this is the thing. It's like, okay, us Californians who've always lived in California, I don't do basements. Okay, I just like
Wow.
so my daughter lives in a house with a basement. I mean, literally until like this last year, she's been there. I don't know how many years now. It's like I finally feel like, okay, I can go down there. I can go down there. I can go down there. But I mean, every time I do, it's just like basements.
That's funny. I'm from the Midwest, so I'm very familiar with basements.
Yeah. But it just freaks me out. It's like you're not supposed to be underground.
under
not
your
a-
house. Oh.
It's not a natural place to be. It's like there's like weird corners and it's just like the big furnace and stuff. You think that it's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah, definitely monsters.
There's
100% there are monsters.
there's so monsters down there. It's just like no. And then I think to myself, it's like, yeah, people like build these things out and they hang out down here. It's like, oh my God, no.
Oh yeah.
It's
So
like,
fun.
okay. It's kind of like, I guess the same equivalent would be like our attics. I don't really hang in the attic. It's not quite the same though.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. About
So we have
basement.
patios. We just hang out outside.
Exactly. Yeah, just like go outside. Although that's the thing. It's like can't do that for like the majority of the year in those places.
Right.
No
No.
offense, everybody that lives in the Midwest, but no offense.
But we don't do snow.
We don't do snow. We just don't do snow. All right. Okay, Julia, what's next?
Okie doke. So next up, I have this came out last week, but I had so many good things last week that I couldn't share everything. And
Love
it's a
this
big one.
partnership.
Whoopsies. It's a big one. So yes, this is the next in the Bill Clinton and James Patterson partnership. This one called The First Gentleman. These are political thrillers. And just delightful to read. Absolutely like a fun time, quick reads, all of them. But it sort of marries, the political insider knowledge of Bill Clinton with the thriller writing chops of James Patterson. And there you have a really fun new thriller to read. And it's about a woman president, and then her husband is on trial for murder, which of course he did not commit. So anyway, a delight of a book. this new one, and it's already getting big reviews. We're seeing a lot of big excitement around it, but The First Gentleman by Bill Clinton and James Patterson.
And you know what I think about that too? It's like, can you imagine how much fun they have writing together? That's what I think
sure.
about. It's like that has to just be like a fun. They probably like talk for hours, hours. Oh yeah, we probably got to write something now.
Yeah, I'm sure.
One of them in particular is a famous
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them is very productive.
Yes, that's true. He can get it done in a short period of time.
Exactly.
Okay, Beth, you're talking about basements are for tornadoes, but okay, so we had a tornado warning when I was out there one time. Okay, they're even scarier in a tornado because lights are out, the power goes out, and the wind goes howling through. Like, because most of the time the windows in a basement that are up like really high aren't necessarily the best wind. It's like, oh, don't get me started on basements. I think somebody, yeah.
Well, my best friend is from Oklahoma City, and she was saying something about earthquakes, and I was like, it's no big deal. Like, the ones are scary, but like those are rare. And then I was like, you have tornadoes in Oklahoma City. I said, what do you do when that happens? And she goes, you get a case of beer and you sit on the porch and you watch it. It's called porch sitting. And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely. Just no. That's a no from me.
That's a hard no. That is a hard no.
Yeah. Get a case of beer, sit on the porch, and watch the tornado. I was like, this is wild.
Oh my God. Yeah. I guess to that point is wherever you are raised or whatever, it's just like you view those tragic things as it's part of just daily life, you know. And we who don't experience them, like when the tornado warning, when those sirens go off, it's like, what the hell, are we being invaded? It's like, what the hell is the sirens? What are these sirens? Because I grew up in the 60s when the sirens were only for when you had bomb threats and you had that when you were doing like had to dive under your desks when you were a little kid. Because I used to do what do they call it? Bombs.
Dropping
the nuclear.
Yeah. And so they would set the alarms would go off. So I have a whole different feeling of what alarms are than
duck and cover, right?
Duck and cover, and you go in and it's just like, oh my God. All right, Tom.
Okay. Now the next book I have this came out last week, I think, The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. So she is one of the rare, I think, I mean, at least in my experience. So there's so many young adult writers. She's a super successful young adult writer, bestseller, and so many young adult writers have tried to make the leap to adult fiction, right? And she pulls it off. This is a book set in 1942 in West Virginia. It's called the Avalon Hotel. It's not a real hotel, but it's based on a real hotel in West Virginia. That's the ultimate of luxury. It's the wartime, and you're introduced to the local girl turned general manager who's like, this is her thing. She's found her thing, hospitality. But then into her world comes the war. The government the State Department fills the hotel with Axis diplomats. So she's having to be hospitable to, let's call them Nazis. Let's call them what they are. So it's intriguing, it's exciting, it's really, really well done. And anytime I love books set like in a place like this. Give me a summer camp, give me a hotel. And she really pulls it off. The New York Times review says if the Avalon is something of a character in The Listeners, so is Stiefvater's prose, which is as pungent as the Sweetwater, with a snap that suggests the whimsy of a veteran storyteller. That's the other thing. If you like historical fiction, it's for you. But there is just a hint of magical realism running through the book. And running is correct because water plays a big role in this slight, not supernatural, but just magical. But it's just enough. It's just a touch, not too much. So The Listeners by Maggie Stiefvater. This is going to be a great read for a lot of people this summer who just great storytelling. And it's from Viking. And I don't think it's too crazy to say if you like Gentlemen in Moscow, also published by Viking, you will like The Listeners.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that there's that. And do they do Jojo Moyes too?
Yeah,
Does Viking do Jojo? So it's the
yeah,
just good storytelling.
yeah.
So the listeners, what are the listeners? Can you say it or does that give it away?
It gives it
The title?
away.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Because I was
Right.
like, because I love the title, but it's like, okay, that must give it away.
It does.
All
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah. But I'm just so impressed because I go into YA writers when I'm about to sell a YA writer who's now writing adult books. I have to admit I'm always a little bit on guard.
Yeah.
But this was great.
Yeah. It's a little jaded. Although I have to say, like, okay, read my first. Well, no, I've read YA before, but I read the Brian Selznick book, and it was so good. It was so good.
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah,
I mean, I think that there's a place for crossing over
yeah,
on both sides.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I've
I
never
mean,
read
and that's the thing too. Yeah.
Maggie
And the
Streetpater
thing,
otherwise.
I think it's like, okay, it goes back to the levels of reading and stuff. It's like, you think it's going to become a Pulitzer Prize kind of a book? Probably not.
Right.
But is it going to entertain you?
Right. And when obviously since we all publish so many different kinds of books, there's room for all of them.
There's room for all of it. And
Yeah.
and as a reader, you have like the capacity for all of it
Yeah.
too. It's just like I like reading. Give me somebody dark and give me some dark stuff. But every once in a blue moon, I'll appreciate something that's a little bit on the lighter side.
Yes.
It's a blue moon for that though.
Yeah, right. Very rare for you.
Very rare. All right, Julia, what you got next?
Okay, so I have a really fun, this is a kid's book. This is What If We? And what I love about this book, so by Eugenia Yo and Vivian Chang, this book, first of all, I love the illustrations and I'll show you some of the interiors, but this is about these siblings, a brother and a sister, and it's the first day of summer vacation, of summer break, and they are imagining all the things that they could possibly do on this summer break. And the young boy, the brother Max, is like, what if I did this? What if I did this? And his sister keeps being like, what if we're gonna do it together? And it's like this great like big brother little sister, and you can see the like as you go into it, the illustrations get sort of more complicated and beautiful. And so it's a great like little sister big brother sort of book, but it's also a great book, I think, to like encourage kids to go do things. And I feel like, in this time of iPads and whatnot, encouraging kids to get out and think about what they can do and all the fun things that they can do outside and go play, I think is really important. And so, yeah, this is What If We, and it's an utter delight. I love it so much.
I love the illustrations are so cute.
Yeah, aren't they cool?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
so
darling. It's really, really cute.
yeah, and I've had a lot of great feedback from children's buyers about how much they loved it. Like they would point it out to me when I was meeting with them specifically to say how much they loved it. So
well, and the thing too is that when you have stories that it's, they can have great illustrations and something that's like a fun story, but then there's a little, they all have some kind of message, but it's not like in your face kind of message where it's just like,
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Tom.
All right, I have another just great read for summer. Death at the White Hart by Chris Chibnall. He's the showrunner, creator of Broadchurch, which has many seasons from the BBC. He was on one or more seasons of Doctor Who. So he's obviously a great storyteller. But it's pretty rare. It doesn't happen often enough that those kinds of writers make the jump to novels and the book form, and he's done it. So he comes. He's able to. So it's a mystery set in a small seaside village in England. Village is filled with secrets. It opens with a man found dead, tied to a chair in the middle of the road, with stag's antlers on his head. You can see that on the cover.
Hey.
And it turns out, obviously, the small town is stunned by this discovery, and it turns out to be the man who runs the Jim Tiernan, who ran the White Hart pub. So Death at the White Hart brings then into this world comes a detective, Nicola Bridge, and her assistant, DC Harry Ward. So you can already see the TV adaptation coming, I hope, not too far along. But we have two novels coming at least in this series. There's going to be a follow-up. It just crackles. It's just if you like this kind of book, you will love this book. It comes from Pamela Dorman Books, who I don't need to tell you probably at this point, is the editor of the Thursday Murder Club, which we have a new Thursday Murder Club coming in September. So Pam and she also loves books. Well, she loves mysteries. She loves books from England. She's the perfect editor and publisher for Chris Chibnall. So Death at the White Hart out tomorrow.
Love it.
Yeah,
I
it's
love the
great.
good summer reads. And yes, Amanda was like, okay.
Yes, yeah. I started out with the deep dark stuff, and then I'm ending with
Like,
you know.
all right, there we go. Okay, so talking about TV runners and stuff, and I know we're talking books, but I very rarely watch like series and shows or whatever, but I've been like, there's a couple that have caught my attention. Have either of you watched The Mortician yet
I've seen it
on
on my
Max?
screen, but I haven't watched it. That's set in LA, right?
Yes, it is Pasadena. It's set in
Oh,
Pasadena.
okay. I got to get on that.
Oh, you got to get on it because you'll probably know it's like some famous mortuary that's
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah, I do need to
Yeah.
watch it.
Oh, is it the one where Octavia Butler is buried?
I don't
Maybe?
know.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I haven't gotten there yet. This is just a guy who runs the mortuary that's just like
And it's a documentary, right? Okay.
yes. Yes. Yeah, it is a documentary. And the other one is the Pee Wee Herman one.
Oh, I want to see that.
It's so good. It's so good. And I just love him. So
Well, while we're on the subject, I'm watching Department Q. Have you watched that?
no.
That's on Netflix. That is based on a series of books that we've been publishing for years. From I think they're Swedish, although the TV series has been translated to Scotland. But it's a dark, gritty crime drama that 9 episodes. I
Okay.
toured them. Yeah, Department Q. We're still publishing the books actually, but it's based on the original one, first book, which was The Keeper of Lost Causes. But it's great.
Looks like Amanda's coming to us from Department Q.
I
need some-
love that.
I need disco fries to go with my disco lighting. I have no idea what's happening. I don't know why this is happening.
All right. It's all good. Okay, so yes, I'll give you what the book is that I'm listening to, and it's like, oof. I probably shouldn't. I'm gonna say it with. There's several booksellers at the store that actually really like this. I mean, not to say it's just like this, just one of those instances that this book was just not for me.
I love the way you put that, though. There are some booksellers who actually really like
Who actually,
they
Ouch.
actually really like this thing. Maybe there's some reps here who actually really like
there
this.
probably are some that actually do, but it's just so not for me. It's the Here One. I actually almost forgot the title of it, Lori. Every time I try to think of it, I forget the title. It's Here One Moment. It's the Leon Moriarty.
Oh,
And so it's just, I have like, yeah, it's just one of those where it's just like, I've loved books that I've read of hers. I've read not a lot, because that was the other thing that I was going to say too. Like sometimes somebody asked me just the other day, like if I very rarely read the same author. There's very few
right, that you follow book to book.
that I will follow book to book. And I've read a few of Leon's, and I would not have read this if our because I feel like I've reid her, and so
Is this the most recent one?
It is.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
no, you do know.
It's okay.
I do know. I don't know what I'm reading. I don't know why I'm reading it.
Because of your book club.
I'm reading it for my book club,
Yeah,
which is a godsend for audiobooks, for book club books, because it's just like I can listen to them, because the last one was just like even so yeah. Anyways, we'll see. Maybe it's going to tie all up and I'll be like, that was brilliant.
You
So
have
stay
to
tuned.
be sure to let us know if that
Stay
happens.
tuned
If and when that happens.
Yeah. So when that happens, when I get to the end, it's like, aha. But I usually listen at 1.2. I've been creeping up to like 1.5.
I was going to ask about what speed you're at.
Yeah, I do usually 1.2.
I think that is unhinged.
Me too. I do too. I do too.
Unhinged when people listen to it at I got in a car with my friend and she was listening to something at like 1.5 and I was like, are you listening to mice? Like, what are we doing? Like,
I agree.
But you guys, come on. When I listen to it, like I can't listen to it. No book can I listen to it straight because it's just like, oh my God.
Get on with it already.
Oh, come on, people. Because it's just because I know I would be reading faster, right?
sure.
So 1.2 seems to be it's a good enough cadence that it's like, okay, it's going a little bit faster than the whole bit. But 1.5, it's just like, let's go, people. Let's go. Because it's like, oh, I got really the last one that I listened to. I was just like, oh my God, not again. Just get over this.
Wow. Maybe I'll try 1.2.
1.2 is, yeah, 2 solid one. Yes, Kim. 1.5, yeah. You've gone to 2. I don't know that I haven't gone
That's wild.
I haven't gone to 2.
Listening to something and fast forward.
Listening to those people that are like the when they read all of the things at the end of a commercial when they go like super fast.
Oh yeah.
To get all
remember those like FedEx commercials in the 90s where that guy talked
Yes.
really fast?
Yes. All right. So there you have it. All right. Well,
Do you want us to do another
on this? I will report back. If you have another one, you can talk about another one. We only have
of course.
30 minutes.
I always have another one.
Sure.
Sure.
I can also talk about a few.
Okay. Well, let's go, Julia, and we'll go Tom, and then Amanda. You can more books. Yes, we have more books.
Okay,
And I'll stop talking.
this is one that it
Oh.
came out in September of 2023, but we have a new edition coming out this fall. But Little Frog's Guide to Self-Care, I gotta tell you, flies off of people's shelves. I have accounts that have sold hundreds of copies of this. So if you're feeling bogged down by life right now, let me tell you, this drag queen frog in high heels and a little mushroom cap telling you nice things might be the thing that you need most in this world. It is absolutely an utter delight. This is an artist out of Oakland and Maybelle Ikwe, and she is amazing, and Little Frog is a phenomenon. So that's what I have for you. It's a small little gifty title.
Truly a phenomenon. I love that. That is so cute.
One of my colleagues has a store in Boston that has sold 1,700 copies of that book.
Oh my God.
Mhm.
No, I absolutely adore that. I love it. So yeah, we did do lightning round. We just didn't call it that. We were just kind of going with it today.
Yeah.
All right, Tom, you got a boat. We'll call this bonus round.
A bonus book. Yeah. This was the other book I was going to talk about in the lightning round, so now I'll talk about it in this lightning round, which is it's out in paper, but I love this book so much. This is the hardcover edition, but Griffin Dunn's Friday Afternoon Club out tomorrow in paperback, I think. So if you didn't get it in hardcover, get it in paperback. But it's a truly like I can't wait for more books from Griffin Dunne. So Griffin Dunne is an actor. He's I remember him best from American Werewolf in London and After Hours, the Martin Scorsese film. But he's still acting, still producing, very active in the film world. But he's also the son of Dominic Dunne and the nephew of John Gregory Dunne, and Joan Didion was his aunt through marriage. And so it's the story of both that family, great family story. He also grew up in Hollywood, so there's unbelievable stories of the one that always sticks in my memory is when Sean Connery he was like drowning in the pool, and Sean Connery jumps in to save him. So there was that. He was best friends with Carrie Fisher, so they grew up together in Hollywood, and then he watched her go from his best friend and roommate to Princess Leia and all that came after. So there's just great Hollywood stories, but also very moving story of his relationship with his father, Dominic Dunn. And then the second half is about the murder of his sister, Dominique Dunn, and how the family came together, and really, tragic story, but really wonderful memoir all the way through. You don't have to love Hollywood memoirs to love this book. It's just a great family memoir. And that cover, one of our greatest covers, that family photo is everything.
That's
So
epic. Yeah.
Friday Afternoon Club,
Yeah.
by Dominic Dunn. Out.
That's a pretty epic cover.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. All right, Amanda, what do you got? Wrap us up here.
Yeah. So sorry to be a broken record, but we have some phenomenal author events this weekend. Two in a row. Robert McFarlane's new book is A River Alive. He will be at USD on Friday night, and it just hit the New York Times bestseller list this week in its first week out, and it is if you enjoyed Underland by him, a deep time journey where he explored the Earth's underworld, speaking of basements, as they exist in myth and literature. So this book begins with a premise. What if rivers were treated as living beings with legal personhood? And so he takes a journey and goes to certain rivers in Ecuador, India, and Quebec, and explores those places, talks to the people who live in those places. His writing is incredible. So this is it's nature writing, it's travel writing, and I mean, it's about nature, but it's also very much about people. And the way he writes people is so good. And Andrea Wolf, author of The Invention of Nature, said he is a magician with words. His writing is like a vortex. Once caught, you're pulled deeper and deeper with every page. And Diane Ackerman, author of The Zookeeper's Wife, said he is one of Earth's keenest celebrants. And The Economist called it a masterpiece. So I think it's going to be an incredible event. And then Saturday, the thriller of the summer, King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. One of the editors of the New York Times Book Review named this as his number one choice for a thriller to read this summer. Our very own bookseller Christina said the writing and story in King of Ashes are all consuming like fire. And the story is it's a Godfather inspired crime epic, but it's set in the South, and it's also a family drama. And he's going to be in conversation with the actor's name is Adam Lazar White. And he's an actor, but he's also the audiobook narrator for all of Cosby's books.
Cool.
So I think it's going to be an incredible conversation.
Maybe I will listen to that one at one point too.
Yeah. And then I'm mentioning this is not an event at 2-speed.
I won't do that one at 2-speed.
I'm mentioning this again
Take
because I
your
love
time.
this book. Aftertaste. One more. This is out. It just came out 2 weeks ago. And I just want to mention it again because I love this book so much.
I'm seeing I mean, lots of people are loving it. I'm seeing it everywhere.
It's just so singular. So the blurb says, what if you could have one last meal with someone you've loved, someone you've lost, combining the magic of Under the Whispering Door with the high stakes culinary world of Sweet Bitter? Aftertaste is an epic love story, a dark comedy, and a synesthetic adventure through food and grief. And Joan Silber says this is a terrific book. Aftertaste offers the glories of food and cooking, all the yes chef details we now love, in a cool, brilliant, and suspenseful novel. And Louise Kennedy, one of our favorites here, says Aftertaste is practically exploding with love, life, and flavor. I relished every word. So that's Aftertaste. And if you liked The Ministry of Time, I really think people would
Wow.
like this book because it's speculative fiction, but it's also food writing. It's also a ghost story. It's also a love story. It's just really singular.
Love it. Love it. We got to you. So the bonus round, y'all got some really good extra bonuses there. So there we go. All right, everybody.
I think the drag frog won, though.
I think that might have
Oh
won.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty talk about singular. That was pretty special.
Yeah, and more to come from that little drag queen frog.
Oh, sure.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. All right. So we have we're getting into the heart of summer reading. It's not quite summer yet, but it is. We in California. I mean, I'm just now seeing the sun out my window
I know.
for like the first time in weeks, it feels like. I mean, June gloom is a real thing.
And it can take all day for that sun to come out. Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be here for like a moment, and then it's gonna go. If I look to the west, it's probably already the clouds are already probably coming in. So, anyways, all right. Happy reading, everybody. Go read. Don't look at the news.
Yes, Kim. Support your local libraries.
Yep, summer reading programs, absolutely. And I will see y'all because I gotta go back and read
I was
right
gonna
now.
say you're doing one thing. You're getting
I'm
back
doing
to the
one
book as
thing
well.
right now. I will not be watching any of my shows tonight. Okay, everybody.
All right.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.